Damn, I was doing all that talking. And nobody could hear anything I was saying. But yo, big ups to everybody. It's your boy MM2K back with another one. Here's the deal. I'm a little exhausted. Big ups to my man Neverland, because he said it himself. He's like, yo, MM2K, you was doing. He's like, man, I'm just tired watching all these goddamn podcasts, man. And big ups to Neverland for saying that, man. And let me just give a shout out to everybody. You know, big ups to the homies Neverland. Big ups to 6996. Everybody that's been in the chat. You know what I mean? Big ups to Triple B for rocking with your boy last night, man. We had a crazy ass post Microsoft / Bethesda show, man. You got to check that out on my channel, man. Man, we was wilding out, man. Good times. For those of y'all hearing the clapping, that is from all of my streams this week during the E3 coverage is being hosted by the PNTSnetwork.com. What's up, J-Wags? Bro, I don't know if you're at work. If you're not at work, let me know if you want a link. I'll hook you up. Because I'm just going to do this real quick before the Square Enix thing, man. I just had to talk about what we saw this weekend and talk about hopefully what we'll see going forward into the next E3. So here's what's going on until the next E3 showcase, and this is actually the first day of E3. For those of you not fully aware of that what we saw this weekend were just extracurricular things. They were in the format of shows, but they weren't during the week of E3 because I guess to get their fans exposure to whatever they had to present, they thought it would be easier to have like their separate fan base show. And it was smart. It'll get people hands on stuff and, you know, stuff that they may like and they may enjoy. Wags is at work. I feel you, bro. I actually took off for this, man. Yeah, I'm pathetic. I actually took off. I needed some days off anyway. It's a bunch of crazy stuff going on at work. And I just didn't want to snap out on anybody anymore. So I took some days off. So I'm relaxed doing this. But, man, I'm telling you, man, so many podcasts. So much Zima. Your boy is tired. I also want to thank Will Sink of Xbox Uncut, man, for joining too, man. We man, star-studded, man. Star-studded. I did a little show with him, and we got to do something again. Definitely. Xbox Uncut, man. Before I did anything, I was vocal on their show in the chat, whatever, and they gave your boy a lot of support, man. So big ups to them. Will and everybody, Steph, Jason, you know what I'm saying? Big ups to everybody there. With that being said, I also did it with my Triple B brethren, Nethos, man. We had some good times. We had some technical difficulties, but we kept rolling with the show. Real good times. You got to check that out. A real good show. We were talking about the state of Xbox, what we needed them to do at E3. And you know what that would mean if they were able to come through at E3. Damn. Okay. J Wags' power went out. That's crazy. Did you catch that Bethesda show, J Wags? Hope you caught that Bethesda show, because here's me and J Wags and Juice and all of the Triple B post up, man. We all go back and forth. We all have our own opinions, and that's the good thing about the diversity of Triple B. With that being said, I will put J-Wags in the boat of myself. Maybe not as extensively, because I think the only difference is that I do see a value to shop to consumers, but I'm not one of those consumers as far as the Xbox ecosystem is concerned. But if I was just talking to the average consumer, if I jotted down their litmus of what they were looking for, I can find scenarios to where the Xbox ecosystem has value. J Wags is like, absolutely not. There's no value with the bugs whatsoever. And I can dig that. But for us, for Wags and myself, the hardcore, here's what I got to say about what Xbox showed us. And we did a stream, like BGST did a post show, and big ups to Mooch, man. Like, Mooch, man, I don't want to say he had an epiphany like he was. Mooch has always been, I think, the more level-headed. Nothing against anybody on BJ2, but I think he was the more level-headed when it came to the criticism of Microsoft up front. And Mooch was on fire last night, man. Yo, you gotta check out the BGST show, the post show. The Godfather Next Gen 720 was on there. They had Randolph. It was a real good show. Crack it. Man, Mooch was lighting they asses up, man. Shoot. Yo. Mooch was just... Look, he was basically telling them that, okay, Microsoft put on some pretty stuff, but that was not all that was needed. That's like if you send somebody to the store with a grocery list and you say, look, give me some pineapples, give me some chipped ham, give me some grapefruit juice, you know what I'm saying? And they come back with the chipped ham, but you ain't got no pineapples and juice. It was a lost cause. It was a busted trip, right? It was a busted trip. And what Mooch was basically saying to the panel that they were not soaking in is they were caught up in the aesthetics of the show itself. And yes, for an average gamer that just wanted to see some video games flashed in front of them, the show was appeasing. But to someone like myself or Wags or anybody else, Nethos, anybody else out there, even Next Gen 720, anybody out there that's like, yo, I am dismayed as an Xbox enthusiast. I've been there from the beginning. And I've been there from the beginning too. I may have not done the beta testing like Next Gen, but I was there from the beginning. And I was like, yo, Xbox is where it's at. To see what's going on now, like, I need to see that you're giving me what I am looking for, that you provided in full totality when you first came on the scene. And you just substitute, you're not doing that, but just giving me a laundry list of developers that you, or studios that you bought. Man, you're appeasing Sony people. And I get it. You want to have a wide reach where the Sony people said, hey, you need more studios like Sony. You need to be like Sony. You need to be like Sony, but in a black and green box. That's absurd to me. Let Sony be Sony. Sony is good at grooming studios internally to put out the product that is good for their consumer base. If I was happy with Sony, then you wouldn't even hear me here. I would just be like, the hell with it. I don't deal with Xbox. Sony's where it's at. I'm not happy with Sony. I don't like the product that they put out. So that's why I'm even harder on Microsoft. That's why their feet are under the fire more than anybody at Microsoft. Let Sony do what Sony does. I don't care. But I need Microsoft to be Microsoft in some form or fashion, even if you want to expand. The word expand is like these mugs. Somebody need to send them a dictionary. Maybe have your boy Major Nelson deliver one with white gloves on. You know what I'm saying, Larry Herb? I don't know. When you expand, you ain't got to purge to expand. You're growing on top of what you've already built. So if you want to appease these Sony people that'll really just ask you to get more studios because they figured this is something that you would never do. They just thought you were too cheap and it was just fanboy banter to argue against you with. And you're chasing their crazy stuff. What are you going to do with these studios is the question. And I'm not so confident about how you're going to cultivate these studios because under the helm of Phil Spencer's been the HGIC, the head gamer in charge, all right? He's been the head gamer in charge since September 2017, pretty much the ending of the fiscal year of the Terry Myerson era. So we can't blame Terry Myerson. That fiscal year was over right when Phil Spencer was made head of gaming at Microsoft. And with that being the case, they had a whole new budget lined up for the next fiscal year. Okay, so don't believe the Terry Myerson stuff is dead. It's gone in the water. It's dead in the water. It can no longer be used as an excuse. Let Terry Myerson do what Terry Myerson is doing wherever Terry Myerson is at. Stop it. I'm frustrated with that one. I'm telling you, I'm tired of hearing Terry Myerson. It's a new fiscal year when Phil became head of Xbox Gaming. Whole new budget. Y'all need to pick up Rich Dad, Poor Dad and read up how the financial world works out here, man. I can only do so many goddamn podcasts. New fiscal year, new budget, Terry Marston's gone. End of discussion. Now that I'm calm, I'm just going to say this. Being that the first fiscal quarter, you guys pulled in $2.5 billion. And now you know you're prepping for E3 and you're telling us, as Wag's been saying, the biggest E3 ever. I'm going to keep it 100 with you. Wags is in the chat. I don't know. Well, to me, as far as presentation, the E3 last year was better than this. The only thing that they did that was different was said, hey, we got some new studios coming. I'm not saying it was a bad presentation, but they showed all these great games. That was when the X was coming out. You showed Metro. I mean, it was jaw-dropping. You know, I'm not saying they have jaw-dropping games, but they showed all this jaw-dropping stuff last year. So we saw the same thing. The format was a little bit better. They cut out a little bit more of the fat. You know what I'm saying? It was presented better. But as far as what they showed aesthetically, last year was a better show. They had more to show you, and I think it had more of an impact as far as letting you know what was coming down the pipe. Even though what was coming down the pike, again, what we got to rely on now, tangibly, is multiplats. That's the same thing they showed you last year. So, I mean, so what? What? In my Nori voice. Straight up. Well, what's the big deal? And you showing me these 5 new studios, what does that mean? You're taking a internationally loved company like Rare. Under your minds, they came out with some garbage, like Sea of Thieves, garbage. And that's under the Phil era. Full fundage, new fiscal year. Phil's the head gamer in charge, September 2017. Help me understand that. Jay Wags in the chat says, it was presented well, but the show has so much, but at the same time, so little. Only game for the rest of the year is Forza. Absolutely. What did you put tangibly in our hands? And this is where I don't get where this isn't understood. And this is where I think this is just damage controlling. And, you know, some of my brothers doing this, and I love them. I love them like kids I've raised. But we got to stop. We got to stop this, man. We needed more of somebody like myself. Hey, look, I'm not going to damper on everybody's parade. There are those of you that legitimately are happy with what Xbox has presented to you. Fine. I am not going to try to, I'm not one of those people. I'm not one of the vamps out there to validate my purchase gamers that forces you to like what I like. If you're truly happy with what Xbox is doing, then God bless you, this show was fantastic. But you couldn't have been one of the ones dismayed and said that this did it. They have 5 new studios that's going to do what? What are they going to do? Are they going to do what Rare did with Sea of Thieves? I mean, we got Gallagher in there, but you know what? This is a new regime. This is what's not understood. The new regime has to show that they have the ability to either produce or help foster hardcore material opposed to Halo, Gears, and Forza. I repeat, the new regime has to prove that they have the ability to, and on some consistent level, pump out hardcore material opposed to Halo, Gears, and Forza. Now, with that being the litmus of all of us that are dismayed, because Next Gen 720's been saying it, I've been saying this is not something new. I didn't just make this up, pull this out of my ass. With that being the litmus, you tell me where in that presentation we were shown, I'll do it once again for him, Wags, where we were shown that this new regime has the ability to produce something hardcore on some type of consistent level opposed to Halo, Gears, and Forza. Now, some of y'all might say, that's not fair, MM2K. Why can't Halo, Gears, and Forza just be the litmus for the hardcore and they just focus on it? Because we did not just have Halo, Gears, and Forza when we came to the Xbox in droves and masses. We were getting stuff all the time. We were getting your Jade Empires. We were getting your Knights of the Old Republic. Hell, we were even getting your Praise. We were even getting your Quake 4s. We were getting your Mass Effects. We were getting your Bioshocks. Hell, we were even getting your Two Humans. Microsoft was taking risks. And Microsoft, regardless of whatever casual fuddy-duddy stuff that they were coming out with, they always had something pumped out for the hardcore. And if they didn't produce it themselves, they were making phone calls. They were reaching out to people. Hey, how can we help make this game better? And in return, just throw us a couple of bones. Give us something exclusive on the Xbox platform. And they were already killing. They didn't necessarily have to do that. They were already killing with the features and all the other. And then Halo was coming. They didn't have to do that, but they put it all in for the consumer. J-Wag says, wait till next gen, I guess, or whatever they're going to call it. I'm not waiting for nothing. Just like I said on the Broadband Bullies podcast, look, man, we ain't got to wait for a motherfucking thing. We can sell our Xboxes right now. There is an Xbox Live auction site that I'll get more into after E3. People are selling their stuff there in droves. And we could just say to hell with it, man. I may not like what PlayStation got out there, but I'm going to keep it open, man. We're going to see what they're going to do. But I already got my backup plan. We're going to see what Sony's going to do. Hell, we'll even see what Nintendo's going to do. And I already got my backup plan in place. You gave them a grocery list. What do you have churning out that is going to be something feasible for the hardcore besides Halo, Gears, and Forza? I need to know that Xbox is pumping forward the next generation. They've changed the landscape of gaming to the more Western developed, more realistic, more in-depth, more strategic. That's what I like. It reinvigorated an old geezer like me into gaming again. And for them to just simply see them just dump that whole aspect and turn to we just want to reach the 2.1 billion, I can't support that. It's not the answer for me, Sway. Burke, what's going on, brother? Good to see you, man. I know y'all, I know y'all tired of all this negative Xbox talk, but dying of thirst here. But what y'all don't understand is, again, I'm not saying this like I'm some genius, or I'm not, man. I'm just a regular Joe Schmo that go do his thing, support my family, try to play my video games, and look horrible at God of War when possible, okay? I just have experienced in certain things, not because I'm better than anybody, that just happen to be the path that I walk. I have experienced in certain things that when I hear shit from Phil, it just sends off my spidey senses. And I recognize it as banker babbles, we call it, because I hear it every day at work. When we tell Phil, the hardcore is dismayed, you got to show we don't think that you're focused on the hardcore. And what he does is he shows you 5 new studios that he just tells you that he got 5 new studios. When we've been telling you what we need to see is something hardcore, and you're ignoring us, the people that actually purchase and support your services and products, and you're listening to the people across the street that are just throwing fanboy banter at you, that's smoke and mirrors, and y'all can't see it. I ask you again, Wags, I'm gonna do it again. We have been asking for hardcore titles outside of Halo, Gears, and Forza. That for them to be the Xbox of old, at least start churning those games out. On the heels of them not doing that, on the heels of Phil Spencer admitting himself to Next Gen 720 for crying out loud, it's on the internet. You know what? That's an interesting point. I never thought about that. And on the heels of something ripe for their demographic, Space Hulk Deathwing being ignored by them, picked up by Sony, and them going with this corny RTS game version of Space Hulk, you gotta ask them again. What have they shown you in that presentation that shows you that they are focused on churning out hardcore material on a consistent basis outside of Halo, Gears, and Forza. They showed you they got some studios. They showed you some hellified games. God damn it. Devil May Cry 5 looks good as hell. That's the day one buy for me. The question is, where at? Where am I going to buy it? Because I ain't necessarily got to buy it on Microsoft, because look, what incentive did you give me besides, okay, the 4K enhancements? I get that, and it looks beautiful, but guess what? I got a banging ass PC. And for those of you that ain't got a banging ass PC, that you got one console to choose from. You really got to think about this. If they can make God of War on a $200 console look better than anything that's on a $500 console, then I got to refer to my man Wags. Why am I buying the fight? Why am I even invested in your ecosystem? Everybody's buying the games. The majority of their games 2.5 to 1 on the PlayStation system. I get it. The features may not be that great, but if I'm not a feature hawk, and I'm just a normal casual gamer, where does it make sense to go? And especially, they ain't got nothing. Who's to say that Sony ain't gonna work something out and get some extra content? Hey, they done got it for Red Dead Redemption. You even got people like Mooch and Crap talking about, hey, we might get Red Dead Redemption on the PlayStation 4. But I'm being told extra content means nothing. That's damage control. Let me get back to the chat. My man Cyrus Burke says, you good, Most. You have your preference of games. Microsoft isn't delivering for you. Best bet are to rely on multi-plats like Prey, Atomic Heart, and possibly We Happy Few. And he give me the eye signal. And like I said, I'm not in the business. Burke brings up a very good point. I'm not in the business of trying to convince anybody. You know, if you're happy with Microsoft and you've been at E3 and especially to see that, that was probably amazing to see that. I still would have liked to go see it, just because I'm a gamer. But I have a big concern. Like someone like myself, I took a hiatus from gaming except for RPGs, and I did my RPGs on the PlayStation. I really didn't care for anything that PlayStation churned out, but I liked my RPGs. So I was playing my RPGs on the PlayStation. Then comes the 6th generation, where it seemed to reinvigorate your boy. And then I see what Xbox is doing. And they're bringing the PC-esque type games over without me having to get a high-end PC. They're bringing that experience over, and that meant a lot to me. And they did it, and they just even ramped it up even last generation. In this generation, for them not to focus on that, for them to try to go commercial, super commercial, and completely eradicate the hardcore. That's a concern. And again, the people that were complaining were the people in the same boat that I was. We were complaining that we wanted to see you churn out hardcore material. And what do? You don't listen to us. You listen to the people across the street that were just throwing fanboy banter at you. Get more studios. The answer, Sway, for Microsoft is not to get more studios. They don't know how to cultivate that. Look, Halo, Gears, and Forza are already established things. They let them do their thing and they leave that alone. Okay. But when they try to go brand new under this new regime, we've already seen it come to fruition. That's why I said I got to look past the smoke and mirrors. We've already seen it come to fruition with Rare and Sea of Thieves. What the is that? What is that? And it's so bad that they keep showing you the stuff that's coming, and all they're showing you is CGI trailers. Like, what is that? And you guys are jumping out the window because they got 5 new studios? To me, right now, from what I've seen from this new regime, that's just 5 more studios names for them to fuck up. I'm sorry. Excuse my French. I'm sorry. I know it's early in the morning. But that's just 5 more studios, good names for them to drag through the mud. They are not good at cultivating studios like that to come up with brand new ideas. And I get it, Gallagher's there, but I don't know, man. I don't know. And where I don't know, I can't go. It's as simple as that. Where I don't know, I can't go. So there's that. And back to the things, back to the chat, man. Wag says your games will load 2 times faster though, boss. That's not gonna work for me, man. Because now at the end of the day, you know what I mean? If you have the resources, if you have the resources, in the direction that Microsoft is going with Game Pass and their stuff going in Game Pass, and multiplat seeing High Heaven on PC as well. EA's killing it with that EA access, Origin access. Then they're coming out with this get access to everything for $15 a month. Ubisoft's rumored to get their things. If these guys can come up with viable platforms and servers and networks that can give you the security of an Xbox Live, because that's PC's problem right now. The reason why I can't just immediately recommend PC is that there's too much cheating going on there. But if they can get their DRM services together to where they can manipulate that, they can eradicate a lot of that cheating and get it secure like Xbox Live, then whatever. And then Xbox Live is looking to do that themselves. They're looking to fully expand. And, if I can get the Xbox Live experience on PC, then I'm just going to tell people, you know what? You're better off just getting a PC. You're better off getting a PC. Tip Diamond in the chat. Tip Diamond in the chat. What's going on? Wag says, that's a great point. These new studios might follow suit and put up with it. Look, man. Let me say this and then I'm going to go to a real show, which was Bethesda. I want to keep the focus off Sony, but I just want to give you guys the big picture here. Anybody that believes that Sony doesn't have input and they let their studios go free reign, you're living in a different solar system. The developers at Sony happen to be happier, and therefore they say all these lovely things even though they're false. It's because their games are selling well. Shit, Guerrilla Games finally got a superb hit on their hands with Horizon Zero Dawn, even though I think that game is trash, but it did what it needed to do. Because Sony knows how to cultivate internal studios for what their consumers want, regardless of what MM2K thinks. And how they cultivate them is they tell them, third person, over the shoulder, dramatic sequence. Look, man, let's keep it real. It is not by coincidence that the last 80,000 games that come out of the Sony first party studios are all third person, over the shoulder, dramatic stories. It is what it is. Sony's the head game company in charge. They say, look, this is what our consumer... It's called product placement. I'm not mad at Sony for doing that. Going to their developers and saying, look, whatever ideas you got, great, fit it within this mold. So to say that their developers have complete unanimity is a lie. But they understand where to put the guardrails up at to support their consumer base. All that extra shit is just like... Look, Jack Trent told you himself, everybody that works at Sony have to work for Sony. It's not about your individual contributions. You're working for Sony. That's why he rolled. Y'all don't put the pieces together. So, again, to believe that everybody at Sony has free reign, you're lying to yourself. With that being said, Sony knows how to put its troops in order to produce for their consumer base. Microsoft, right now, especially this new regime, does not. So a remedy for one company is not the same remedy for another company. All Sony has to do today is put on an eye-pleasing show. They won. Microsoft had to put on an eye-pleasing show and then pat the hardcore on the back and say, look, we're coming with the product. And at the very least say, look, we realize we've messed up. Some things happened internally. We had to change the guard. We pretty much changed the company. So we were in a slight rebuilding phase. But because we're in a rebuilding phase, here's something we're going to give you now. In any sports, when a company goes through a rebuilding phase, or when the sports team goes through a rebuilding phase, they're giving you nooks and crannies like crazy. Free days, this free Sundays, this bobblehead, this. They're making large investments, and they're putting something in your hand to show you some consumer appreciation for sticking with us. Microsoft hasn't done that. Like, what am I getting for my $500? Besides glossier multiplats. I mean, and that's nice and all, but the point that's been made time and time again, if those multiplats are online and they have an online mode, yes, the PlayStation hardcore, they don't play games. We were just joking about this last night. You go into their chats, all you hear is tumbleweed. You can hear the tumbleweeds, but that's them. We're talking about the casuals. The casuals play a lot of online games. They play more online games than they do on Xbox because that's where most of the casuals are at. So if it's just a matter of you just wanting to team up with somebody, then you can go play on the PlayStation system and do that. But like I said, as reference to the sports team, why can't, when Devil May Cry got up on stage, why couldn't they say, oh yeah, and exclusively coming to Xbox? We got a couple of new levels, another playable character, or a playable or an extended arm if you get the Xbox version. Only the Xbox. Then no motherfuckers get off the stage. Excuse my friend, I'm sorry. But then who comes next on stage? And I'm sorry, when it's hot up here. Y'all hearing all these helicopters. I live by one of the busiest streets in the city of Pittsburgh, and there's a hospital right down the street from me too. It's not choppers coming for you. It's not Phil sending his choppers for your boy. When Dying Light 2, for crying out loud, when Dying Light 2 came on stage and they showed that phenomenal title, coming to Game Pass, coming to, what's it called? Or not coming to Game Pass, extra content, exclusive to Xbox consoles for 6 months, whatever. Like, really? Y'all can't work that out? Y'all made $2.5 billion from September to like January, right? It's the first fiscal quarter. You telling me that $2.5 billion? You the head gamer in charge now, Phil. You couldn't have pulled out 30, 40 for one game, for Dying Light 2. Dying Light, man, that's an eye popper. You could have said, Dying Light 2, look, here's what I did. I wrote a check for $75 million to the mugs to get Dying Light 2. $75 million out of $2.5 billion, out of a company that's worth $500 billion. It's not a huge dent. You could have just picked one game. You could have picked one game where you just threw them a lot of money and then maybe just got an extra map or something like that from Devil May Cry. Work with them. The Microsoft of old would have said, hey, what can we do to make your game better? They would have called him up and said, what can we do to make your game better? And in return, throw us a bone. Todd Howard came up there and showed Fallout 76. You can't get nothing exclusive. Because exclusivity matters. Content-wise. It matters so much that you got your boys Mooch and Crap talking about, hey, we likely going to get Red Dead Redemption on the PlayStation. So don't give me that BS that content doesn't mean anything. Stop it. It meant something last year that helped push the 360 forward, and it means something now. With that said, I'm done crying the blues over Microsoft. It's a wrap, man. It's a wrap. Unless if Phil don't come out before the end of this E3 and make some major announcements and show something hardcore. We don't have Space Hulk Deathwing. You got to show, you buck that to the side for some dumbass RTS version of the Space Hulk game. Show me something that is tangible for the hardcore, and I might change my mind. Right now, man, I done boxed up all my Xbox, my shit at the Xbox condo, and I'm looking for a new place, man. I'm out on rent.com or whatever, trying to find a new crib, man. Period. That was disheartening, truly disheartening. And what's even more disheartening is to see y'all damage control this because y'all can't see past the smoke and mirrors. We asked him to come through with one. We gave him a list. And instead of giving us the list, he just came back with some other shit and said, oh, I think y'all like this. Because these mugs across the street, nobody, the people that don't even live in this house, these mugs across the street said y'all might like this instead. So this is what I brought you back. Man, get out of here, please. Okay, on to a real show. A real show. Bethesda. Bethesda knocked it out the park, man. Them with their little sappy, we are Bethesda, was more hardcore and better than anything that I've seen at the Microsoft show as far as reeling me in, as far as what they got to offer and what their mind state is. I got a better vision as far as being a hardcore gamer and a better feeling watching that mushy ass We Are Bethesda movie than I did seeing the whole entire Microsoft show. It's a goddamn shame. And Bethesda knocked it out of the park. Now we were laughing about I forgot the guy's name that did the intro for Rage 2. Yeah, that was a little silly. With that being said, and I finally caught up on Rage 2. Rage 2 looks nice. I think it needs to be co-op or whatever. And the rest of the show, pretty much except for the phone game that they showed was, I mean, I don't care about that, but I get where they're coming from. The phone, the card game. Now they showed Elder Scrolls Blades, which is a unique idea where it's a game that can be played on your phone, on a console, or in VR on your PC. It's just a no, and it connects all of those platforms together. So with that being said, that was phenomenal to see them trying to think outside the box. Then they showed you, they talked about that Starpoint. They did a little piss poor gif or whatever with the beam of light hitting the spaceship. I don't know what the hell that means. That doesn't have me excited. And then they showed another gif of Elder Scrolls 6. And they went past the norm. They showed you what they were working on beyond what's coming out this year. And they let you know that Elder Scrolls 6 was in development, and that was just fan fodder. And all they did a Kanye West. Kanye West just took a snap of the Appalachian Mountains and said, I hate being bipolar. I'm having the time of my life, whatever the hell he said. That's all Bethesda did. They just took a snap of of some place in Greenland and they just put Elder Scrolls 6 over in the caption. And you know what? It worked. Because it was fan fodder. And that's all that mattered. So with that being said, Bethesda had a hell of a show. I highly recommend watching that. After Square Enix is coming up next. And I'm about to end this so I can get ready for that show. Square Enix is coming up next, so you're gonna want to see that. But definitely check out Bethesda's show. It was the highlight of the day. Jay Wags brought up a great point. He says, what happens to Fable and Perfect Dark isn't inside Xbox tonight. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're saving it for Xbox, whatever it is. And maybe I'll reverse my opinion. Maybe I'll unpack my shit and come back to the Xbox condo. We'll see. That's a very good point, J Wags. But we'll see. But what they showed there last night, I don't know. Maybe they were just trying to do something eye appealing, and then maybe inside Xbox will have the hardcore shit. It's hard. That's like an oxymoron. Inside Xbox, hardcore shit. Inside Xbox, I don't know. But great point, Wags. All right, so with that being said, people, I'm going to go. I appreciate y'all spending y'all time with me again. I'm going to get ready for the Square Enix show. I got a little things to do before my wife kicks my ass when she gets home. But as always, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for coming through. Big up to J Wags, Tip Diamond, Cybersburg. Thank y'all. And anybody else that's viewing this live or after the fact. And again, all my streams are being simulcast at pntsnetwork.com. Hopefully, what we got planned is me and TRS are bringing back Scram Punks this Wednesday. We're officially bringing it back. And you'll hear from TRS, the CEO, then. But until then, as always, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful gaming day.